Hi everyone. In today's discussion, we are going to study one practical, that is description of flowering plants in botanical terms. Actually, this practical titled Description of Flowering Plants in Botanical Terms is differentiated into three different parts. Out of that, first part, that is morphology of vegetative parts. Second part is inflorescence, and third part is morphology of reproductive parts. Actually, this practical is very big and difficult to understand in one stroke, so that for understanding of the students, for better visualizing and better understanding of the concept, this practical is distributed and differentiated into three different parts, and three different videos will be given to the students. So in very first part we will be focusing on morphology of vegetative parts. So we can start with the presentation. So actually see, the first title is given here, how to describe an angiospermic plant. So actually description of all plants is a part of morphology, so that the definition of morphology is must be learned, and that is, morphology is the branch of botany which deals with the study of external characteristics. External characteristics are those characteristics which can you easily see with your open eye. There is no need of any aid, any help, any instrument to see such characteristics. So all these external characteristics are visual characteristics of all plant organs. Now in this video we will be focusing on habit, stem and leaves. So let us start with presentation. Habit. Habit means how plant grows at its dwelling place, how it is growing. So there are different types of habits. It may be herb. So what is herb? A plant without permanent woody stem. Such type of plant is called as a herb. So you can see some of the leafy vegetables like coriander, fenugreek, spinach, various kind of herbaceous or herbs, vegetables are there, leafy vegetables are there that you use in a kitchen. All these plants are called as herbs. Then second, that is shrub. So description of the shrub is here, a perennial woody plant of relatively small stature. Small stature means what? Relatively less height, relatively small height, typically with several stems arising from or near the ground. So this you can see in vitex, this you can see in lantana, this you can see in rose, this you can see in hibiscus. These are the examples. In the next slide you will see all three examples of herb, shrubs and tree. Tree is a perennial woody plant with single large trunk. Big trunk is there, and that big trunk is holding so many branches at its apical crown, and so that there is development or there is a formation of big canopy, and example is Mangifera indica. You can see examples. Herb, where plant is without permanent woody stem. Here you can see the height of this plant is relatively less, and here you can see multiple stems are arising from the ground level, and stature of this is relatively less. But if you look here, a single large trunk is there, and that is bearing most of the branches, and that lateral, primary and secondary branches are holding entire body on single large trunk, and this appearance is typical tree appearance, this is shrub appearance, and this is herb. Few of the other habits can be learned here. Climber, a plant with relatively weak stem, and it is climbing on other plants with the help of tendrils or hooks. Tendrils are like coiled modified stipules, and hooks are also hook-like modified stipules present along with the plants, and with the help of hooks and tendrils they are taking support of adjacent plant or any supporting material, and it is growing. So cucurbits you might have seen where tendrils are there and with the help of which it is climbing. Similarly, bignonia is also example, and that is hook climber. Twiner is a kind of plant which itself twines around the other plants. So clematis, Marathi name is Gokarn, which is ideal example of twiner where tendrils and other such structures are absent, but plant itself is twining around the support, and that is called as a twiner. Then linas is actually woody climber. It is a climbing, but stem is woody in nature, but its height is so big and relatively thickness of stem is small, so that it is taking support of other plants, but there are no tendrils or hooks or any such type of structure, but this woody stem itself is coiling around the available support and it is continuously growing, and example is Entada gigas. Then epiphytes. Epiphytes are those plants which are growing on another plant but can photosynthesize. So they are just taking the support of the host plant. They do not draw the nutrition from them, and examples are orchids. Here botanical name of one of the orchids is given, that is Dendrobium. And parasite is a kind of plant which is growing on another plant and it also draws the nutrition from the host plant, and example is Balanophora, Cuscuta, Loranthus, Viscum. Various different examples of parasitic plants are there. In this slide you can see few of the pictures. This is the very first picture of climber where tendrils can be seen. With the help of tendrils support it is climbing. In the second picture you can see a stem is there and another stem is there, so they are twining around each other and they are growing up. This is epiphytic plant where you can see the roots and it is taking support of this host plant, but these roots are not penetrated, they are just taking supports. Here you can see Cuscuta where beneath you can see green colored leaves are there, and all these yellowish colored stems you can see they are growing very luxuriantly there, and actually they are penetrating their root haustoria in the phloem region of the plant, xylem region of the host plant, and they are drawing water as well as nutrition from the host plant. Here you can see this is green host plant and their roots are there, and on their roots here root haustoria are developed and it is growing. Actually this example is of root parasite and this example is of stem parasite. So there are different kinds of parasites. Then next is habit of stem. So there are two different habits in the stem. Either it is herbaceous, here you can see, or it is woody in nature. So in these two different pictures you can see this is fenugreek plant where herbaceous stem is represented, and here is a big tree which is showing woody appearance. Then types of stems are there, that is aerial or weak. If it is growing straight then that is called as aerial. If it is growing straight then that is called as aerial, but if it is a prostrate, if it is a weak, it is unable to grow straight, then that is called as a weak stem. Then third characteristic is there, that is external shape which is either cylindrical. Cylindrical means circular. Here you can see the stem of mango, which is exactly circular. In this case, stem is quadrangular. This is one angle, this is another angle, this is third angle, and on back side another angle is there. So here stem is characteristically quadrangular, and this is angular, where angles are more than 4. So these different angles can be seen. On another side also different angles are there. Here it is evident, you can see these angles can easily be seen. Then fourth characteristic is there, that is branching. So whether stem is branched or it is unbranched. Branched stem we can see in all dicotyledonous plants like mango tree, where it is branched. But unbranched stem is there in monocotyledonous plants. Say for example in jawar, in wheat, in bajra, you might have not seen the branched stem, as it is unbranched. In monocotyledonous plants it is unbranched. Then interior means what? When you cut it in a portion, and if you see the center part, if the center part is not hollow, then that is called as a solid. And if you see here in bamboo, here central part is hollow, it is not filled from inside, so this is called as a fistular. This is like a pipe, but here such type of cavity is not present. This is called as a solid, and this is called as a fistular. Then bearing of leaves means what? Where the leaves are bearing. Now if you see in the very first diagram, stem is unbranched throughout and leaves are present only at the apex. So this type of bearing of leaf is called as qualine. In second case, if you see the stem is there, here branch is also there. So on main stem as well as on the branches, it may have leaves, means leaves are present throughout the body, and this type of bearing of leaf is called as qualine and ramal. The third type is there, where the leaves are directly arising from the underground part of the plant. It may be corm, it may be bulb. Here example of onion is given. Here onion is a bulb, and from the bulb, directly from the ground, the leaves are arising. This can be seen in lily, this can also be seen in garlic. So this type of bearing of leaf is called as a radical. The next part is there, that is called as a phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy means attachment of leaves to its respective branch. So if you see here, this is a branch, this is a petiole, and this is a leaf. And if you see this stalk, that is petiole, if you see this petiole and this petiole, they are alternating. This is one, this is second, this is third, this is fourth. They are alternating. If you see in second picture, they are exactly opposite to each other. See this, they are opposite to each other. Now this opposite type of phyllotaxy is of two different types. First is opposite superposed. Opposite superposed means what? See, this is one pair, this is another pair. Every upper pair is exactly above the one. Exactly above the one. And second type is there, that this is the axis. One pair is this side, other pair is this side. So every upper pair is exactly right angled to the first pair. So this is a right angle to this, this is a right angle to this, this is a right angle to this. So this way they are alternating oppositely and decussedly with every next pair. In this third case, you can see this is the branch and one common point of attachment of all leaves are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 different leaves are arising at one node, and this type of phyllotaxy is called as fold type of phyllotaxy. Then here we will see about stipules and stiples. So here see, this is branch, this is leaf, and if you see this leaf, such type of outgrowth if present, then this is called as a stipule. In first picture you can see that this is the branch, this is a stipule and this is a stipule. So this leaf is stipulate. If such type of stipule is absent, then that leaf is called as a exstipulate, and if the stipule is present, then that is called as stipulate leaf, stipulate and exstipulate. Then if you see that this is a compound leaf, in this compound leaf, this is leaflet, this is leaflet, this is leaflet, this is leaflet, this is also a leaflet, but here is also a stipule like outgrowth. So when we say that at the base of petiole something is there, that is called as a stipule. But if such structure is present at the base of leaflet, then that is called as a stipule. Then that is called as a stipule. Then similarly here you can see, here stipules are there at the base of leaf, but as this is a compound leaf, here such outgrowths are there, and these outgrowths are actually called as a stipules. So remember, this is stipule and these are stipules. Here you can see few of the types of leaves. This is simple leaf. Here you can see it has a stalk, and one stalk is bearing only one leaf, hence it is simple. On the other hand, here you can see this is a stalk of leaf. I will change the color for your understanding. Next to this, see this part. Now look here, this part and this part is actually called as petiole. This part is called as petiole. So petiole finishes here and it is bearing a leaf. In case of compound leaf, the structure is different. Above the petiole there is one structure, and that structure is called as rachis. This structure is called as a rachis. Now if you see further, here small stalks can be seen. These are the stalks of these leaflets. Can you see these stalks? These stalks are there. Now these stalks are actually called as petiolule. These stalks are called as a petiolule, and this entire structure is one leaf, but as it is there with different leaflets, this is called as pinnately compound leaf. The third type is there where this is the stalk. This stalk is called as petiole. Then there are small stalks are there. These are called as petiolule, and these are leaflets. And as it is resembling with that of a hand structure, palm-like structure. This is called as palmately compound leaf. Now compound leaves are of different types. If you look into the very first picture, this is rachis up to here, this is stalk, and this is leaflet. This entire structure is one leaf. This individual structure is called as leaflet. Now if you see in the very first picture, leaflets are 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So everywhere they are in the multiple of 1. So this is called as unipinnately compound leaf. Unipinnately compound leaf. If you look here, this is rachis, this is actually petiole, and here as you have seen here, that is in the multiple of 1 each. Here they are in pairs. They are in pairs here. 2, 2, 2. So this is called as a bipinnate. Similarly here you can see this is a stalk, that is called as a petiole. This is called as a rachis. This is called as a rachilli. And here you can see that they are in the multiple of 3. Somewhere 5 are there, but they are instead of 1, instead of 2 here, they are more than 2, and this is called as a tripinnate. So unipinnate you can see in neem, bipinnate you can see in acacia, tripinnate you can see in moringa. Same is illustrated here. Simple leaf is single leaf. Then this entire structure is one compound leaf. As you can see, this is petiole. This is very important slide for you. Then petiole finishes here only. Then an axis extended from that portion, that is called as a rachis. Then this individual part, these all individual parts, that is called as a leaflet. And here you can see these parts, stalks of the leaflets, are called as petiolule. Then this type of leaf is differentiated into 2 different types again. If you look here, they are in the multiple of 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. That is, number is parallel because it is 2 plus 2 plus 2 and so on. If you look here, that number is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, but it is ending with odd leaflet, and this is imparallel number, hence that is called as the imparipinnate. Then here you can see bipinnate leaf. They are in the multiple of 2. Okay, so this is actually the difference in unipinnate and bipinnate compound leaves. Leaf attachments can be seen in this slide. Here you see this is axis of attachment of the leaf, and if you see in the first figure here, that leaf is directly attached to the axis, so there is no such type of attachment, and this kind of leaf is called as a sessile leaf. In this case, very little attachment is there. It is not even more distinct. It is somewhat giving the feeling that it is there or it is not there, but somewhat is there, and this kind of leaf is called as a subsessile leaf. Then next is there where stalk of the leaf that can be easily seen, and that is called as a petiolate leaf. Now let's learn about different shapes. If you see, this is like a one line, this is like a needle, and this shape is called as a acicular shape. where there is no dorsal and ventral surface. Onion is ideal example, which is ring like or pipe like. There is no dorsal and ventral surface, and that is called as acicular. Similar kind of leaf is observed in one gymnosperm, that is Pinus. This is linear, so its width is very less and it's in one line. That's why this is called as a linear. Oblong and linear, it is similar, but this leaf blade is wide and this leaf blade is small. So it is linear, this is oblong. Here you can see elliptical shape. This is lanceolate and this is lance shaped. Then here oblanceolate. Now what is the difference in lanceolate and oblanceolate? Here the base is broad and apex is tapering. Here you can see the base is tapering and apex is broad. Then ovate. Ovate means what? Egg like, where broad base and tapering apex is there. Obovate is exactly opposite to that, where base is narrow and apex is broad. Then chordate, that is heart shaped. Obchordate is inverted heart shaped. Here is the stalk and here is the stalk. So understand these terms, these names are given on their shape. This is deltoid, obdeltoid, cunate, rhomboid, reniform like a drop of water, peltate. This is actually stalk and this is actually leaf. So this is right angled and it is looking like that of a capital T, and that is called as a peltate shaped. Then this is orbicular, this is spatulate, hastate, sagittate. Sagittate is like arrowhead shaped, that is called as a sagittate. Then leaf margins. If you see, this is a midrib, this is a margin, and here you can see small hair like structure, that is ciliate. Then here you can see crenate margin, which is semicircular. Then dentate margin, that is like point of the tooths. Then this is denticulate, fine pointed. This is doubly serrate. This is actually called as a serrate, but within that it has multiple serrate structures, hence it is called as a biserrate. If you see, this is continuous, so this is called as an entire margin. You can watch this video repeatedly to learn these concepts neatly. Here you can see many lobes are there. This type of leaf margin can be seen in the members of Amaranthus. This is serrate margin, pointed. Then cerulate, fine points are there. Then this is sinuate. This is spiny, that you can see in Argemone mexicana. This is undulate. This is seen in brinjal, datura like plants. Here different leaf apices can be seen. This is with less than 90 degree, that is called as acute apex, because acute angle is there. When sharply pointed, then that is called as acuminate apex. Then when it is showing a sharp point of thorn like structure or spine like structure, that is called as a spine apex. Then when it is rounded but exactly at the middle, sharp hair like small point if present, that is called as a mucronate apex. This is truncate shaped, this is rounded, this is obtuse. Obtuse is more than 90 degrees, and this is emarginate type of apex, where two different leaf blades are arising together and forming a symmetrical structure that is called as the emarginate apex. Then leaf surfaces. If you wipe your fingers over this surface, it will show a smooth structure as there are absence of hair. But if you look here, small hairy outgrowths can be seen here, and due to presence of hairs, this is hairy, and botanical term to describe that is pubescent if it is hairy, and botanical term to describe this kind of leaf, smooth leaf, that is called as a glabrous. Then leaf venation. If you see, this is midrib and all lateral veins are arising from it, and it is forming a net-like structure, and that is called as a reticulate structure, and this venation is called as a reticulate venation. In second picture you can see the midrib, but all these lateral veins are running parallel throughout the length, and that is called as a parallel venation. Thank you.